Hello summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides OP Korean builds video. My name is Kellen and today I'll be going over all of the latest and most OP builds that have been rising in popularity in Korean Challenger. A bunch of you guys have been asking for our personal recommendations on this topic for quite some time, and luckily for you, we have a ton of connections with Korean challengers, so we can keep you updated on this matter. On top of that, there have been some major balance changes which have shaken up the ladder over in Korea, so we can't wait to share with you what we have in store. Also guys, today's episode will actually feature one build that originated in Europe but is constantly being picked over in the Korean server, so stay tuned for that. But before we get started, make sure to go to ProGuides.com if you want to see huge improvements in your rank. We upload video guides similar to this one on our website every single day. As of now, we're currently uploading a Challenger gameplay analysis guide for every single champion, so make sure to go click that link below. Also, we have an exclusive coaching feature called InstaPro, which provides coaching from the best of the best. Trust me guys, you don't want to miss out on this, so sign up today. Now with that being said, let's jump right into it. So let's start with top lane. The first Korean build we have for the top lane is everybody's favorite, actually scratch that, not everybody's favorite champion, everybody's least favorite champion, which is Vladimir. Anybody who's played League of Legends knows exactly how strong Vlad is right now. Not only can he one-shot any squishy, but he can also go untargetable and heal for 1,000,000 all at the same time. In the Korean server, a lot of pro players are jumping onto the Vladimir hype train and are spamming him in solo queue for freelo. However, there is a small twist to the build that we're talking about today where they're taking Kleptomancy instead of the usual phase rush. Kleptomancy on Vladimir works so well due to a lot of reasons. Vlad is a ranged top laner, so he can easily proc Klepto against the majority of his matchups. Number 2, Vladimir's kit synergizes very well with the inspiration path. Finally, having that extra gold from Klepto allows you to hit your power spikes even faster. For the full runes, you'll want Kleptomancy, Magical Footwear, Minion Dematerializer, Cosmic Insight, followed by the Domination Tree secondary for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. For items, you'll start with a Doran's Ring into Proto Belt, Sork Boots, Death Cap, Zanya's, and a Void Staff. If you main top lane, then we highly recommend this build because it'll net you a ton of free LP. Next up in the top lane, we have a build for Rumble. Now, traditionally most players are taking Arcane Comet, Dark Harvest, or Electrocute on Rumble, but not the Koreans. A lot of high-elo players in Korea have noticed that Rumble will struggle a lot more in the top lane than he does in the mid lane right now due to more unfavorable matchups. So instead of taking an offensive rune for the extra damage, they've instead opted to go more of a defensive route with Grasp of the Undying. Before you say this is troll or weak, keep in mind that if professional players are using this keystone in competitive matches, it might be pretty good. In fact, if you watched the LCS playoffs last week, you would have noticed that a Korean player named Huni caught this wave very quickly and played Grasp Rumble in Game 2 versus TSM. This goes to show just how strong this build can be. For the full runes, you'll want Grasp of the Undying, Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth, followed by Domination secondary for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. For items, you'll start with a Doran Shield into Leandries, Sork Shoes, Rylai's, Morello's, and then you can top it all off with a Death Cap. The third Korean top lane build is actually for Azir, who was slightly nerfed on this patch. But for those of you who weren't aware, Azir had his Q, Conquering Sands cooldown nerf during the mid to late game a few days ago. Although this nerf is somewhat noticeable, it almost makes no impact to his stance as a top laner. He can bully his opponents from any CS pretty hard and safely scale into his power spikes in the top lane island. Basically, if you're going to play a melee champion into Azir top, then you're not going to have a very fun time. The runes are pretty standard because the only unique part about this build is the role that he's being played in. You'll want to take Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, Mana Flow Band, and Transcendence for your go-to runes, as well as items you'll want a Doran's Ring, into a Nashor's Tooth, Sork Shoes, Morello, Death Cap, and a Void Staff. Lastly, for the top lane, we have one more build which is for Aatrox. The standard runes for Aatrox mainly consists of Conqueror, with the occasional Electrocute or Aftershock if you're playing him in the mid and jungle. However, much like Rumble, a lot of Korean top laners have been opting to go Grasp of the Undying into his bad matchups. This build is mainly focused around having a better laning phase against your counter picks and is much weaker during the later stages of the game. Conqueror's healing combined with your ultimate passive is just unrivaled right now for Aatrox. But the truth is, Conqueror just doesn't help you all that much in your bad matchup. camps, or during the very early stages of the laning phase. So instead, you'll want to go Grasp, Demolish, Bone Plating, Overgrowth, followed by Domination for Taste of Blood, and once again, Ravenous Hunter. For items, you'll want to go a slightly tankier route with Doran's Shield, Ninja Tabby, Black Cleaver, Death Dance, Spirit Visage, and a Thornmail. Okay, let's move into the junglers now. First up in the jungle, we have a build for Nidalee. Now, Nidalee is one of Korea's favorite junglers, and is actually quite strong over in the East. Nidalee is a mechanically intensive champion who requires low ping, which might explain why the Eastern Nidalee players are just so damn good. However, instead of going a full burst route with Dark Harvest or Electrocute, the Korean Nidalee mains have been going for a more skirmishy route with Conqueror. Now, this playstyle for Nidalee is quite a bit different than your standard build, so it might take a little bit of practice. For runes, you'll go Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, followed by Domination second for Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter. For items, you'll take Runic Echoes, Ninja Tabby, Trinity Force, Athene's, Zanya's, and a Liandry's. With this build, you're looking to take those long extended trades and duel the enemy jungler. You're much less reliant on your spear with this build, but it doesn't mean that you can't win trades without landing your Q. Most of the time, you're going to look to do a lot of hybrid damage as well as good true damage with your Conqueror and just duel out the enemy jungler in the long skirmishes. Next up in the jungle is a build for the newly reworked champion in Pantheon. Now, Pantheon was already a decent jungle pick before the rework, but he's become even better with the patch. Let me tell you why. So, after clearing a few camps, stack up your passive and gank a lane. As soon as you press W on the opposing champion, they'll get hit by a point-and-click stun, followed by your Mortal Will bonus, which will automatically strike them for the 3 hits. This means that using your 1 point-and-click ability will stack 4 stacks of Conqueror by itself within a few seconds. Follow that with a Q, and bam, you will have your Conqueror fully stacked. However, the real cherry on top is that he's extremely good at tower diving because of his E, and also impacting all side lanes of the map using his ultimate, Grand Starfall. For runes, you'll take Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Inspiration Secondary for Cosmic Insight and your free boots. For items, you'll go Warriors, Merc Treads, Duskblade, Ghostblade, GA, and top it all off with a Maw. Alright, you guys ready to run it down mid? Okay, me too. So, the first build is originated from the Kassadin god, Dopa himself, but it kinda died down for the past few months due to the popularity of Fleet Footwork. However, with the huge buffs to Kassadin's W this patch, a lot of players in Korea have been managing to bring it back. If you didn't know, Dopa would pick Kassadin into pretty much any melee mid laner such as Zed, Echo, or Sylas. The reason he got away with this is because Grasp of the Undying combined with Kassadin's W and Q made it impossible for him to lose out on trades. In addition to that, Echo recently received a pretty hefty buff, so this will act as a perfect counter pick to any Echo matchup that you play against. For runes, you want Grasp, Demolish, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth, followed by Domination for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. This rune page is designed to let you win any trade if you manage to get your Grasp off. Finally, for items, you'll want a Doran's Shield into Rod of Ages, Ninja Tabby, Archangels, Zanya's, and a Void Staff. Next up, we have another build for Kassadin, which is actually more on the troll side of things. Like we mentioned, Kassadin did get a pretty big buff on his W this patch, so a lot of players have been going on hit Kassadin in the mid lane. Now, we don't really recommend you try this out in ranked, but make sure to give it a go in those normal games. The build is super fun, even if it's a little bit troll, because watching an attack speed Kassadin slap you to death is always hilarious. For runes, you can take Fleet Footwork, Triumph, Alacrity, Last Stand, followed by Domination for Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. Next, you can rush a Manamune, Berserker Greaves, Triforce, Gnasher's Tooth, Rageblade, and a Wit's End. Again, I wouldn't recommend you try this in ranked because your teammates will probably be really tilted from what the heck is that Kassadin build, but it is pretty funny nonetheless. Alright, let's move into the bottom lane. Now, like we mentioned in the introduction, today's episode is a little bit special. Instead of a full Korean build list, for the bottom lane, we instead have one that originated in Europe recently. For the bot lane, our first and only pick is Garen. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has to be trolling, and it sorta is. Kinda, not really. Garen is definitely a viable champion for solo queue, and Fnatic's team captain Reckless has shown us exactly why you should never underestimate this champion. He recently was picked in the LEC before playoffs started, and now everyone is copying this build. Seriously, you cannot go a single game in Europe Diamond 1+ right now without facing a Garen bot, top, or mid. Not to mention that Garen has a huge impact in Korea and a ton of players are spamming Garen in solo queue. Look what you've done, Reckless. Honestly though, I'm loving this meta. Bot lane Garen is so much fun and you'll definitely enjoy playing it too. I guarantee it. For runes, you'll want Fleet, Triumph, Tenacity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. For items, you can go Relic Shield into Black Cleaver, Ninja Tabbies, Deadman's Plate, GA, and Spirit Visage. You'll want to take a relic so you can share gold with your support, since you'll be getting zoned a lot in the bottom lane. If you guys are interested in Garen in pro play and some of his competitive history, over on my channel on Exile, I actually made a video about Garen's history in all his time in competitive play. So if you're interested in that and haven't seen it yet, why don't you go check it out? Alright, finally, on to the supports. So the first build we have for supports is for Bard. Bard recently received an HP buff a few patches ago, which made him one of the strongest lane bullies in the game right now. However, instead of taking the back seat and being someone's support, Bard players have been going a more carry-oriented style. The build I'm about to share with you guys is going to make your opponents want to pull their hair out. Take this. You want Electrocute, Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Ingenious Hunter, followed by Mana Flow Band and Scorch. Next, you'll want to start a Spell Thieves, followed by Hextech Revolver, into Serrated Dirk, and a Shard, and Moby Boots, and then you'll build those items into GLP, Rapid Fire Cannon, Yomu's, Duskblade, Gnasher's Tooth, and pretty much any AP item. The idea for this build is to purchase items which will grant the maximum amount of value during the early game for the lowest price. Buying a Revolver, Dirk, and Shard will allow you to find those easy double kills due to your auto attacks hitting them like a truck. If you ever manage to land a Q stun on them, then they're almost pretty much dead. There is no escaping this build because you have the movement speed from Mobies and Yomu's while also slowing them down with your Q and GLP. Try this one out, guys. You're going to love killing your opponents over and over again. Next up, we have a build for the newly reworked Pantheon, except as a support. With the new Pantheon rework, his E works very similar to Brahm's shield, except it blocks all damage, including towers and ignite. Knowing this, a lot of Korean supports have been playing Pantheon bot lane due to him having a more aggressive and a little bit less tanky Braum playstyle. His W is a point and click. His E is great for tower diving and peeling, and his ultimate is great for roaming. And of course, his Q is just flat out annoying to deal with. For runes, you'll want Aftershock, Demolish, Second Wind, and Unflinching, followed by Inspiration for Cosmic Insight and Boots. For items, you'll take Relic Shield, Mobies, Yomu's, Knight's Vow, Redemption, and a Sterax. Try to look for roams whenever you can, and make sure to call your jungler down for some tower dives. Your E makes it so easy to dive, since it's a 2.5 second shield that will block about 3 tower shots. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for our new OP Korean builds video. We would love to hear your suggestions on how to make these videos better, so if you have something to add, then please comment down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content in the future. Also, make sure to check out ProGuides.com for videos and guides that were made by your favorite pro players, such as Hai, Bunny Fufu, and Mike Young. We're going to start uploading a lot more content within the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that bell icon to be notified of every upload. That's gonna be all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the Rift.